So Hogwarts Legacy has probably one of the coolest mount summon animations in any video game I've seen so far. We have some new gameplay shots from the Brazilian Comic-Con events, a first ever look at mount combat, and a lot more reveals that genuinely got me even more excited for this game. If that's good or not, we're gonna touch on in this video. And by the way, I'm also doing a giveaway for Hogwarts Legacy Deluxe Edition on all platforms. All you have to do is to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and comment on this video, and you can also follow me on Twitter, as that's how I will reach out to the winner at the end of the giveaway. I'll draw the winner once we reach 400k subs, which should happen pretty much any day now. Anyway, super jealous on the fans who were able to attend the Brazilian Comic-Con event, but during that panel we were able to notice some new gameplay footage of the Graaphorn mount summoning, which was way more wild than expected. I think that this is one of the coolest animations I've seen and definitely hits the mark on the lore side. And I'm also pretty sure that the box used to summon the mount in the first place is something we saw in the State of Play video before, so this might help explain how we're able to collect and store our mounts. More on that in just a little bit, but later in the same presentation it was revealed that the Graaphorn can also charge forward and hit any target in its path with its oversized horns, pretty much confirming that mount combat is a possibility with this creature at the very least, not just reversal. And if that's the case, it's likely some of the other mounts out there may have other types of abilities that can also become useful in different types of situations, combat related or not. My only question is, how is our character able to tame such an aggressive beast? From a lore standpoint, only mountain trolls were ever known to be capable of using Graaphorns as mounts, and even they weren't always successful. There's a couple of theories that I have that are backed up by the State of Play gameplay and the reveals so far, with the most plausible explanation being that we won't get to tame the fully grown specimens, but rather the young ones. We've seen footage of the same box being used to collect a mooncalf in the State of Play gameplay, which is a different kind of creature also found in Hogwarts Legacy. And in a different shot of a pack of Thestrals, we saw that the foal was something we can interact with and even save. We can of course rescue some of these creatures in Hogwarts Legacy and then restore them at their full health back at the room of requirement. So I'm fully expecting some kind of mini game where we have to bond with the young versions of these creatures before being able to collect or claim them. I believe we even have a gameplay shot from a while ago that features a fully grown up yet peaceful Graaphorn getting cleaned up by a magical brush, so that could also be part of the bonding process with our mounts. If any of this sounds familiar, then you're probably thinking of the same thing as I am, because a lot of this reminds me heavily of Red Dead Redemption 2. That game also had a pretty deep bonding mechanic with your horse, where the more time you spend with it, interacting and even cleaning it, the more friendly it became towards you, to the point that this would further unlock new passives for better traversal mechanics and sometimes even combat. Obviously, that is still speculation territory and nothing confirms or disproves it yet, but it seems that at least for some of these creatures there's going to be a slightly deeper mini-game before claiming them. Another cool piece of trivia is that these Graaphorn beasts used to be a lot more common before the 20th century according to the lore, and given how the game is set in the 1800s, it could further help explain how we're able to get one of these more peaceful specimens. It's likely we'll get a better trailer footage and possibly some more info soon from the official channels, so I hope that that's gonna drop anytime in the next couple of days. But over the last week, the official Hogwarts Legacy channels did something pretty cool, going over a lot more info on some of the most important characters we'll get to meet and interact with. Some of them definitely hinting towards improvements towards the facial features, maybe even animations, which were a bit hit or miss in some of the early trailers and gameplay. The one that probably changed the most is that of Professor Sharp. So this could be just a different angle, or the face was captured just from the front, but it definitely seems that there was a change compared to what we saw so far in the previous State of Play, meaning that there is at least some work being done on the facial features. But Potions class is in full session. The gruff and keenly astute Professor Sharp enjoyed a lengthy and successful career as an auror until an injury forced him from the field. Not wanting to push parchment around the desk at the ministry, Sharp decided his time would be better spent sharing his extensive experience involving battle-worthy droughts and elixirs with the students back at Hogwarts. pretty much confirming that there's going to be both offensive and defensive potions on top of the health ones that we've seen in the previous gameplay reveal, which sounds really awesome because we already know that some of these can be used in some really creative ways. I'm not sure about you, but I enjoy a game more when it lets me interact with and learn more about the characters that I like, and you're in for a game or two during Professor Ronan's charm class. Jovial and light-hearted with a perpetual twinkle in his eye, Professor Ronan considers his students' friendships and extracurricular activities to be just as important as the subject of charms itself. In response to having been tutored by a rather austere father before and during his years at Hogwarts, he developed a passion for games of all forms, particularly gobstones. He allegedly met his wife during an especially lively gobstones tournament. To the delight of most of his students, his unorthodox teaching style often incorporates gameplay. But meet your defense against the dark arts professor. The stern but likable Professor Hackett takes her teaching responsibilities quite seriously. After a successful career with the Ministry of Magic, during which she is rumored to have spent time in the Department of Mysteries, she retired to become Hogwarts' defense against the dark arts professor. Though she is happy to be at Hogwarts, some believe her hands-on teaching method satiates an innate desire for action. So she's probably going to be one of the more wild card characters of Hogwarts Legacy and possibly have some of the cooler, more intriguing quests out of some of the other teachers that we've seen so far. Maybe with the exception of Professor Garlic, from mandrakes to venomous tentaculi, learn from the best with Hogwarts herbology extraordinaire. London-born Professor Garlic grew up in a household full of muggles and didn't really feel at home until she was a student at Hogwarts. In fact, it was at the famed school of witchcraft and wizardry she finally blossomed herself and discovered her extraordinary affinity for magical plants. Her sunny demeanor and flowery language charms colleagues and students alike, prompting some students to worry she may one day leave them for another greenhouse. But Mirabelle Garlic would never leave her students, so even if the right witch were to come along, she'd simply have to love Hogwarts as much as Mirabelle does. Anyway, gameplay looks solid so far and cutscenes definitely got a quality bump. Of course, hard to tell from the low resolutions until we get any official trailers. But we also got this new scene better showing Peeves, the mischievous and chaos-loving spirit that's currently haunting the school and seems to love getting students into trouble. In the scene, he gets Sebastian into trouble, so he doesn't snitch on us actually. And judging by some of the dialogues that were translated online, this happens after he helps us during the main campaign. So that seems quite interesting. All of this seems to be quite early in the main story, so I don't think there's gonna be any like big spoilers or anything. So far, hype levels are getting higher, and my only worry is to not repeat another Cyberpunk or even worse, a recent Callisto Protocol. The game seems fairly ambitious, and I'm still cautious about certain features that I'm sure some of you also share the same opinion with me. Like, the game looks pretty packed. It would suck if at launch it came with poor performance or even worse, game crashing bugs. Also, combat got a few players worried, including me. It's not that it doesn't look good or impactful, it's just that I hope those wands are not going to become too repetitive or boring after using them for a while. And finally, there's also the question of how large is actually the open world of Hogwarts Legacy. Like, we do know that exploration is going to be a big part of the game, but is it massive or is it just a small piece? How does it compare to other games? Do people even care about the actual size? This is pretty much it though. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.